I will never ever crucify Babangida. Babangida has actually vindicated the Igbos, the people that are dying out of ignorance. Well, anyway, it's a tragedy as a result of lack of knowledge and information. But concord may, we've actually seen reasons why the Nigerian nation state must MUST pay reparation, compensation to the Igbos. Reparation is a compensation agitated by the then most influential, generous Nigerian ever lived, Moshood Abiola, for the whites, Europe and America to pay Africa for enslaving this continent for 400 years, from 1492 to 18th century. 400 years is a payment reparation. Igbos, we are not accepting 10 trillion. Reparation we're asking for, what has been done. A dead man, I don't think, have any reason to rise up again unless the Lord says so. The Igbos have been violated, spied, persecuted, exploited, all manner of deprivation and humiliation. We have gone through that. The compensation we're asking for is not for reparation, financial one, no. There is need for everybody in Nigeria, especially the Igbos. The kind of quest we are making this very critical time is that peaceful exit of Igbo region from Nigeria. That is the only reparation or compensation suggested or needed by the Igbos.
Okay, Mr. Raf, talking about the Cameroon stuff. Yes, so Dr. Cho Ayoba is to be released Norway and Canada to facilitate negotiation between Ambazonia and Cameroon. What's your thoughts on this, sir?
Yeah, you see, this Ambazonia
Emancipation and Biafra emancipation, they actually, jam together.
Similar.
They are so synonymous in nature. But what happened is that history actually tells us that Biafra was before Mbazonia. Even Biafra is senior to Mbazonia because, according to history, the axis of Mbazonia that later passed through Bakassi, enter Igbo land. All this region with some part of Guinea, are along the Biafran coastal line called Bight of Biafra. The Mbazonia nation, before in history, they were part of Biafra. So the agitation for Mbazonia, began to thicken up as a cloud very late. And we've seen how Cameroonian military forces were buying and annihilating and decimating Mbazonians in the past, not up to 20 years now. It continued each and every administration that has come and gone. But anyway, since Cameroonian independence, we don't have much administrations because it was Amada Ahijo to Paul Biya, and I was surprised that Paul Biya is still the same Paul Biya. 2 administrations since 1960. That will show you how far France has gone to actually destroy the Francophones, French-speaking West African countries, French-speaking East African countries. 2 administrations alone. But notwithstanding, they started agitating from Mbazonia. Immediately, they actually understood that the Igbos are coming up with Biafra. That was during the era of Ralph Wazulike. Before Ralph Wazulike bowed out, Nnamdi Kanu come in. Then agitation from Mbazonia thickened up. Cameroonian military forces actually began their normal onslaught in Africa. France started using them. They began to kill, reduce, and subjugate the Mbazonians. They continued their military onslaught, committing genocide on the side of on Ambazonian people, Ambazonians, until Americans themselves. It was American forces during, I think, Obama. Yes, Obama regime that actually intervened. They went there with parachuters and began what Young Cho has embarked on today. The American military forces with their parachuters actually witnessed many genocide, extermination of Ambazonian people by Cameroonian soldiers. That was how they started to meddle. And today, the youngest country, the youngest nation on from the axis of from the axis of Eastern Africa, with border with Nigeria, is Ambazonia. Ambazonia is covered from Cameroon. They are agitating for self-determination because they are tired of the kind of marginalization that is coming from Cameroon. Cameroon is made up of ethnicities, just like Nigerian regions. We have the Igbos here, we have the Hausa. So they have Biliki, Bamida in Cameroon. There are many other tribes. The Bilikis, the Bamidas are businessmen. They are very, very wealthy people in Cameroon. And they are the ones that are working hard to carve themselves out, see the way from Cameroon today. And what I'm seeing is that Ambazonia and Biafra are trying to synergize. They are already aligned together to make sure that they see the way from Cameroon and Nigeria, respectively. And later, they are going to at least become a confederation. I see it coming, and I believe it's going to work. You can see Dr. Sho Ayaba is working hard. He's a good friend of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Until his own arrest, Nnamdi Kanu was already abducted from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. Then he was apprehended in, I think, Oslo, Norway, in Scandinavia, Europe. That's the Sho Ayaba. So these two countries, they are very close. They share same coastal line. The axis of Bakassi is where Biafra is having border with Ambazonia. So they share the same international water. They share the same culture, if you ask me. Then again, when you talk about occupation, what they are often, engaged on, their prowess, their expertise is business, entrepreneurship. They work hard and they make money. Both Igbo man, Bamida man, Biliki, they are together. And if you go to Cameroon today, they are one with the Igbos. They allowed the Igbos, they entertained the Igbos. During the war again, they protected the Igbos. There are many Igbos that lived in Cameroon throughout that 6 months of Nigerian Biafran civil war. After the war, they returned to Nigeria. So it's going to be a good, alliance with Ambazonia, a newly liberated state from Cameroon. When they had their referendum was in 1959, and Young Cho is still writing to Biafrans that the referendum was not given to them by Cameroon. It wasn't Cameroon that actually gave them referendum. In 1959, Cameroon has not yet gotten her independence. The referendum was actually conducted, as you see what happened in Lahti, Finland, on 29th November and 2nd December 2023 respectively. Exactly such happened when Ambazonia had the referendum. But after the referendum, it was a normal business as normal as we had our referendum in Finland today. Something that is going on in Biafra land is something that is going on in Ambazonia land. So the both young countries, infant countries, are going to team up together and know how their fate is going to be. Thank you.
Yeah, and on that note, the Ambazonia Governing Council, they rejected Cameroon's call for Iran to sit down on the basis that the time they have the Iran people when their leader is handcuffed.
Both countries are going through loss of, hostilities from Nigeria and Cameroon. You see, Young Cho, what do you call this match?
Yes, because well, I can say with this, the Amazonia, they are focused on their struggle, which brings me up to ask the question: Do you think the Biafrans are still focused on the struggle? Because it feels right now like they have been.
There is many factions, quarrels, going on in Biafra land. That's why I tell you that Biafra is a giant. It's not a country that you can count many communities in it. It's not a country that you can know all the elites, all the billionaires. Biafra is a big country. We are big and bigger than Bazonia. And let me tell you, this Nigeria you are hearing, Nigeria is just for mouth. Biafra is bigger than Nigeria by anything. The resources in Biafra is what is feeding Nigeria. The population of Igbos, only one tribe alone has covered the whole country. So leave Nigeria. Nigeria is just making mouth, calling themselves giants when they are all crawling dwarfs. I don't understand. There is this misunderstanding within Biafra. And the reason why is that Biafra is too big. Biafra is not small, sand. You can actually pick with your hand and close it up. No. If you do that, it will be escaping all over your fingers. Biafra is not, let me say, a young child. Biafra was over 500 years before inception of the Songhai Empire and so on and so forth. Many centuries gone, Biafra had many leaders, people agitating for emancipation of Igbo man to be on his own from the colonial masters. That was when the British were in charge of this particular region. Igbo man has started his own agitation as far as during the time of slavery. When slaves in America were set free, most of the Igbo Sierra Leones took it upon themselves agitating for emancipation of Igbo nationality, Igbo nation on its own. Ojukwu is not the first person, and then Nnamdi Kanu isn't. So what I'm trying to say is that we are bound to have problem among ourselves. But it can't be up to that destructive, disastrous level. What we are having among ourselves now is a mere misunderstanding. Some persons are just sowing apple of discourse among the Biafrans in diaspora and the Biafrans locally to know actually if we can hands up our Biafra agitation. That's why most of the people are sowing apple of discussion, apple of discord, trying to bring misunderstanding among the Biafrans. But in a situation like this, we are bound to misunderstand ourselves. Igbo man is not perfect, neither is he a god. Igbo man has his many wrongs. He has his many rights. So the misunderstanding within Biafra government in exile, I think, is something that is skirmish, and it is always like that in any authority, in any society. It is always like that. It is not always sweet. Sometimes it is sour and bitter. And the way we are looking at it, the people that are causing this trouble within Biafran land, we actually know all of them. And in due course, we will bring everybody to at least control. Once Nnamdi Kanu is let off the hook, I think the whole Biafra will come together. The people that are making trouble in Igbo land, they are doing so because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not yet off the hook. That's why it is like